Hey everybody, this is Micah Lieberman back from Scope US. I am the person who runs Scope. A lot of you were there in the US and Europe, the Summit for Clinical Ops Execs, a big conference. And I also am the founder of Clinico, the B2B marketplace. So all of my time is spent in clinical research, and I get to hang out with people like Mark Evans. So Mark Evans is the CEO, founder of Faze. But I'm already confused because I asked you this before. I'm all, wait, Havas Faze versus Faze. He's been at Scope forever, and he's got some interesting ideas. But first, clarify Havas Faze versus Faze, because it confuses me.
Sure. Yeah. Nice to see you again. Nice to be back in rainy England. Yeah. So Faze, patient recruitment, global patient recruitment within Havas. Havas, one of the biggest consumer marketing groups. We've got sort of work in every consumer brand. We've got about 20,000 people around the world. Got a record label, Universal Music, with Taylor Swift on it. We're kind of everything in consumer. But Faze specialize in finding patients for clinical trials.
Good. Okay. And that's good context, because what we talk about on site in Europe, we see each other in Barcelona every October. We see each other at the US every February. Great, great, great. And you usually are focused on our group of people at Scope who are wrestling with and day-to-day designing enrollment plans, executing patient recruitment, trying to keep patients engaged, trying to retain them, all of that. And you have a perspective which is beyond just pharma. You have a kind of a consumer marketing perspective, which is very valuable. So my audience, as you know, is really from industry. It's from the clinical research industry. So what can pharma learn? What can they learn from somebody like you who brings that kind of, I don't want to say retail, but the consumer perspective in to this? What can they learn? What are they missing?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think something that we're extremely passionate about is this sense that clinical trials are this kind of weird world with rules and regulations and complex processes, and you have to understand it to be able to work in it. But ultimately, who we're trying to reach out and talk to are people. And these people are not in some unique space where we're advertising clinical trials. They're out in the real world. I think we have a stat, like 85% of people don't know clinical trials are even an option. So the majority of people that we're trying to engage with, first thing we need to do is connect with them in the real world, whether that's on Facebook, whether that's on TV, whether that's somewhere else. And they're not looking for a clinical trial. So the first thing we need to do is try and introduce them and bring them into that world. And you see so often the traditional approach for clinical trial recruitment online is just to jump straight to selling a clinical trial to someone and saying, are you 18 to 40? Do you have asthma? Come and join our trial. And we're talking to people that don't know what a trial is and don't have any understanding of really what they're going to be getting in for. And it's just like jumping straight into this conversation and missing that whole human conversation. Like, we're not selling a mobile phone or a candy bar. We're talking to people about one of the most emotional, most important decisions of their lives. And just to jump into, we might have a trial, do you want to get involved? Is just misses that entire way that we think and that kind of people work. And I think that's something that, that we find really interesting.
All right, tough question then. I was recently on YouTube, probably watching a dog on a skateboard or watching a cat, and there are so many drug ads, and I find them ineffective. As you say, I find them irritating. What are we missing? Why do I watch those ads? They're not targeting me because fortunately, I don't have those conditions. But when I watch them as an adult who is a consumer of media, I understand media and how things are sold to me, but also I'm inside of clinical research, and I just, what is being missed? Why are those ads turning me off?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I think traditionally, if you look, and this applies across all sectors, when you meet someone who's a marketeer or works or has a sales target, whether that's a consumer brand, whether that's recruiting for a trial, or that's selling a pharmaceutical product, they tend to think the best way to sell is to talk about their product and talk about their service all the time, and to put that front and center, because that's what they're there to do. They're there to sell a trial, or they're to sell a product. So let's talk all about our product, because that's the thing that we're trying to talk about and what we're trying to do. When you actually look at the world's best advertising, they start with emotion. They start to connect with people on a human level way before they try and sell a product. One of the examples we often talk about is Nike, and you'll sort of see we
Oh, I
sort of
have that shirt. I
we
have your
had it
shirt.
as a stage, and it's like I'll show you. You know, if a consumer brand was to take the approach of a clinical trial, you know, if 18 to 75 got feet, our sneakers may fit you. And we sort of
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about how you never see Nike trying to sell trainers, trying to sell t-shirts, trying to sell sport brands. They're coming to people with this inspirational messaging, like brought from inspirational people in sport or in life, trying to connect with their potential customer on a human level, so people buy into Nike as a brand, and then you'll just buy whatever they're selling. And I think for us, when it comes to a clinical trial, and with a pharmaceutical product, it's not just about jumping straight into saying we've got a trial, you might fit you, but let's connect with people, show them that we understand their suffering, that we understand their experience, that we're being authentic about that we connect with them and the way that we engage with them. And then that allows us just to start that bit of conversation. And for us, from a recruitment point of view, we find if you're the company that shows you're not just there with someone trying to get someone onto a Crohn's trial with a stock image of someone holding their stomach and looking a bit sad, you're actually connecting with them with an insight that you understand their life experience. Very few brands and very few trial recruiters are doing that. So you immediately connect with patients, start an authentic kind of emotional conversation, and then you can sell your thing down the line once you've sort of got permission to
Yeah.
start it.
And I know I was talking commercial, not recruitment, but I still wanted to ask it because I know this is your space. You've worked beyond just research. So I wanted to ask that, but I'm glad I did, because your answer was a really good one, and it's very relevant both to the commercial people who are designing an ad on television to sell an already approved product, as well as to the people who are trying to figure out how to get patients to respond to an opportunity to be involved in research for their own good, for their own family. Okay, cool. I'm glad I had you on today to kind of talk about this, because I think you do have a unique perspective, and I'm glad you're able to share it. So thanks for
Thanks so
hanging
much.
out with me, Mark.
Always good to talk.
All right, man. Thank you.